All right, let's see how this goes. I never really did introduce myself. I'm Joe. I'm from Australia. As if you can't tell. I like true crime. I've watched it on YouTube for years. Brian St. John was my first one. Man, I love how that dude says Darley Routier. But anyway, he was my first dude, and then what happened, I think, was the Chris Watts. But I'm going to call him CW. I should call him Voldemort. But anyway, CW. Here goes. So my last two videos, I called out YouTubers who I thought was just sitting there talking shit, profiting off a family tragedy. That's my opinion. And why does everyone talk about that dude? Like, honestly, he's a simple cunt. He did not have no fucking, confidence at all till he lost all that weight. But anywho, what happened with that case was, man, I don't know. Over the time, we've had books, we've had newspapers, all that stuff telling us the crime. But with this one, man, they just threw the whole discovery at us. It was too much information. He pled guilty. It was done and dusted within that first year. And then ever since, in my opinion, people have been profiting off that. I mean, crime happens every single day. Stop the Madness shows that, actually. He's actually awesome. Anywho, I'm going off track. There are so many crimes. It happens every day. Man, during these 3 years, the dude's friggin' chopped his mum's head off, put it in a pot, chopped his dad's hands off, all because, they didn't want to pay for his sorry ass anymore. And he's 28-year-old. Joel Guy Jr. Yes. No one spoke about him. Why? Because they were too busy talking about old CW, right? With that case, there was just too much. Shanann, her whole life was on the internet for her Thrive job. And just a quick note on that: if you're gonna be with a married dude in 2021, you can search them up. Just because Chris Watts had friggin' deleted his Facebook, that don't mean shit. That should have actually been a red flag. You could have still looked up Shanann and seen that she was a happily married wife, doing the right thing with her 2 little kids. She had another one in the oven, and they were just going on with their lives. That was their life. Anyhow, how did this happen? It's easy. As I said, he was a simple cunt who didn't want to friggin' stand up for himself. He was in too much debt, didn't want to pay for one family and then have to pay for another. So anyway, I'm going to tell you a little tale from like 100 years ago, nearly 100 years ago. It happened in 1929. I'm going to share my screen if I can. Just make sure this is working. Right, how do I share my screen? I know how to do it. Sorry, guys. Well, anyone in future who watches this. Share screen. So, what are we looking at? All right, let's go bigger. Let's go to my first one. This story starts in North Carolina. Ironically, it's only about 70k from where LCW grew up, actually, in this, is it Spring Lake or something? I don't know. Anywho, I'll read this for you. I'm going to talk to you about the Lawson family massacre. This photo. Hang on. Yeah, all good. This photo's, I mean, I love photography. Back in 1929, for you to have done this, well, I'll read the story. How's that? A family photograph taken before a Christmas Day massacre holds a telling clue of why the slaughter took place. In 1929, tobacco farmer Charles Davis Lawson made the unusual decision to take his wife and 7 children into town for a studio portrait. The Germantown, North Carolina father bought new clothes for his wife, Fanny, and their 4 daughters and 3 sons to wear for the photograph. It was a highly uncommon thing to do for a working-class family, and the secret behind the photo remained hidden for many years afterwards. Lawson, who had grown up in a sharecropping family, had saved enough money to buy a ramshackle 200-year-old farmhouse close to his brother's farms. But on the day of the photo shoot, no one, apart from Charlie, knew why he was spending money, nor what was to come. His almost complete annihilation of his own family to protect a scandalous secret. Standing in the photograph at the back are 16-year-old Arthur Lawson and his sister Marie and their parents. In contrast with Marie, who was staring directly into the camera, her father, Charlie, is gazing off to the left with a slight smile on his face. Beside him, his wife Fanny is also looking away and holding the couple's youngest child, 4-month-old Mary Lou. On a seat in front of them are the younger Lawson children, James 4, Maybelle 7, Raymond 2, and Carrie 12. And then on December 25th, 1929, 17-year-old Marie rose early to make a Christmas cake, baking 2 layers in separate pans and icing them ready for the family festivities on the farm, 200 kilometres northwest of the state capital, Raleigh. Sometime after this, the 2 middle Lawson girls, Carrie and Maybelle, left the house to go and visit their uncle and auntie. But behind the tobacco barn on the property, their father, Charlie, was waiting with a shotgun. The 43-year-old shot his daughters, bludgeoned them to finish them off, and placed their bodies inside the barn. He then returned to the family house, where his wife, Fanny, 37, was sitting on the porch. Lawson shot her and then moved inside, where Marie was, and her 2 younger brothers, James and Raymond, had run to hide. Charlie shot Marie and then found the 2 boys and shot them as well. Finally, he bludgeoned baby Mary Lou, whose cause of death was a fractured skull. Later, the 7 bodies would be found with their arms crossed over their chests and rocks underneath their heads. Only the older son, Arthur, who had been sent by his father on an errand the night before the killing, would survive. That's actually bullshit. Because I've read somewhere in a minute, wow, that's actually bullshit. He did not do that, because there's another story where he went rabbit hunting with Dad, and then he was sent on Christmas Day. I mean, I thought that was weird, would shops be open Christmas Day? But anyway, he was sent to get more ammunition. But anyhow, I'll keep carrying on. It is believed Arthur arrived back home and raised the alarm, and people began gathering at the Lawson home. Charlie was missing, but within hours the gathering heard a single gunshot from the nearby woods. Arthur and a police officer found Charlie's body and letters he had written. Footprints encircled a tree. It was later supposed that Charlie had paced before killing himself. There's another red flag. It was snowing, and it was pretty bad snowing. I suppose. Anywho, Charlie Lawson's letters did not explain why he had carried out the bloody massacre on his family. After the funeral, at which a large crowd gathered around the coffins, the Lawson house attracted hundreds of tourists. Now, this is where I'm getting at with crime back in 1929 to crime today. This is what they did back in the day. I don't know what's going on in Oughton and see the local murder house. Honestly, I don't know, but this is what happened. They came and saw Marie's Christmas cake on display, a souvenir of the massacre that was kept under glass after visitors stole some of its raisins. A bit like stealing some of our rocks from Ayers Rock, I suppose. Got to take a souvenir from the murder home. Oh, my Lord. So, Arthur, he was left. He was the only one left. I've read somewhere that he became a drunk. He never got to keep the farm. Apparently his uncle tried to. I don't think it's in here, but they actually, for years after this event, they made people would pay 25 cents to get in there like it was a zoo. Dead set. No fucking joke. Anywho, carry on. Arthur died in a motor accident, leaving a wife and 4 children, which then they moved to California. His wife ended up married another dude, and she's now buried with him. But anywho, this part is where I'm getting at with all the stories that come. It wasn't until about 1990 that a book about the massacre was published, and a cousin of the Lawson children told a 60-year-old secret. Lo and behold. See, I call bullshit with that myself. Stella Lawson Bowles confessed she had overheard her mother and other Lawson women talking at the funeral about how Fanny had confided in them that she had discovered incest in her family before Christmas. So why would you have not told someone before a book was being wrote? Anywho, Fanny Lawson had since agonised about the relationship between her husband Charlie and 17-year-old Marie. It emerged that weeks before the fateful Christmas, Marie had shared a secret with her friend Ella Mae Johnson. Well, why isn't Ella Mae telling us that story? Anywho, on a sleepover, Marie had told Ella Mae that she was pregnant with her father's baby and that both of her parents knew about the pregnancy. Another story from the Lawson's family's neighbour Sam Hill was that Charlie had forced himself upon his daughter, and when she became pregnant, he had warned her that if she told her mother or anyone else, there would be some killing done. In the family photograph, Marie's belly does not protrude, but she stares stonily from the photograph, while her father looks askance and a little defiant. The massacre entered folk history in the form of 10 songs, 2 books, and a film. I've got the song here, and I'm going to play that at the end. Well, I'm not going to actually play it. I'll play a tiny bit, and then you can go and look at it on YouTube yourself. Anywho, over here. Anyway, you can read more on the Wikipedia. This is where it is. So we go back. We're in North Carolina. Go down. The whole family was buried in a local man's private cemetery. So this is the headstone, which I find really weird because why do you I don't know, I find that really weird that old mate who killed them all is, sitting loud and proud at the top. Oh, look, Mason. Anywho, won't go into that. Oh, sorry, this was William. This was William who actually died before the massacre. He died age 6 in 1920. Okay, so here's Charlie, the apparent murderer. There's Fanny with the little baby. There's Marie, Carrie. These are all on Find a Grave, guys. Lucinda, James. Oh, look at him. Didn't want to look at the camera. Raymond. And little Mary Lou was the baby. She was actually buried with Mum. And if I go back over here, there's the family funeral. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Little Raymond. Now there's old maid who died in 1945 from an automobile accident. This is his wife, who then married another bloke, Olga Dodd. What I've got here. Oh, that's right. So this is the New York Times, the day after the thing. If you want to read it, it's there. I don't really want to read it because I don't want to take away from these websites' views. So if you just want to read the actual day's newspapers, you just can. And this is the part that I wanted to get to. I reckon as the years went on, the story just got more salacious. That's all. And as it does with everything. And what I'm trying to say with the profiting off crime, well, in this crime, what happened was, it was the day of the funeral. People were actually going through that house, looking through it, picking raisins off that cake that Marie had made. Like, honestly. And what I think what I'm trying to get at is YouTube, they're never ever going to stop people profiting off crime. And it's okay to talk about crime. But say the facts, guys. Like, just say it as it is. Don't make up crap. There's so much crime in the world that you don't need to make up crap. Like, honestly. I'll leave you with this. And I'm not going to do it all, because if you want to hear it, you can go over to YouTube, type in that, and you will get it. Well, I hope that worked. If it didn't, oh well, I'm sorry, guys. It's my first time. Now I can't even get back. I'm locked it up. Thanks for listening, guys. Stop that. All right. That's my story. Thanks for listening. As I said, you're never ever going to stop people making money off crime, but just stick to the facts, guys, please. Thanks a lot. And yeah, I won't watch and chat. Nothing like that. This is how I'd like to do my stuff. Just me roving on. Because, yeah, I don't know. I love true crime. I think it's the part of finding out why, but I don't think we ever will. Madness, come up with it. People are just infected with the madness. Anyway, thanks for listening. Bye.